you mentioned social media and the effect
Yeah.
that has on our attention span earlier. What about streaming? When it comes to music, particularly, you have a whole discussion of streaming movies and the infinite choices available to us in the book.
Right.
It's very interesting. But I wanted to ask you about streaming music
Yeah.
in particular and how that's affected our habits and our ability to really invest in something.
That's that's an issue that I have kind of begun working through on a personal level this year. Um, so, quick story: my family takes a lot of car trips, and my children. I have two daughters, 12 and 14, and they don't have smartphones. But whenever we take a trip, I say car trip like I do. I just got back from a month-long family car trip on the road. We were in the car for over 140 hours. We drove close to 10,000 miles in the month of July. These kind of car trips, we would let our daughters, my wife and I would let our daughters use these two ancient smartphones that we had, and we would put audiobooks on them, and we would download music from Spotify on them. And earlier this year, from the front seat could hear coming out of the headphones in the back seat that my daughter was listening to something that I had not put on that phone. And she owned up to it. And I was like, we're never using these things again. And so when we got back from that trip, I said, all right, I'm buying you girls some portable CD players like I used to use when I was a kid, and they get a healthy allowance every month. And I said, I'll get you started with some CDs, but
That's
you can
great.
go with me to the CD store when I go, and you can look and find stuff that you want to. And so that was before this trip in July, and I have a Spotify account and I use it, but I also own thousands of CDs and hundreds of pieces of vinyl, and I will continue buying like CDs probably until I die. But I found, among my students that my students are still fascinated by music, but they are not nearly as beholden to it as I was when I was their age. And it was because music entailed, like the acquisition of music when I was younger, entailed some kind of suffering, some kind of time commitment. Like if you wanted to hear, I don't know, if you wanted to hear the B-sides on the Verve's Urban Hymns record, you were going to have to buy $13 import singles from Great Britain for the next 3 months. And you were going to prove that you loved the Verve by spending a lot of money on it. No one has to do that today. Like, you can hear whatever you want at the drop of a hat. And I think that I don't think that it's made people love music more. All the records that I think most of the records that I really, really love, pop records and rock records, I think I probably encountered before I was 25. The things that meant the most to me were the things that I encountered before streaming music.
Right.
So many of the things that I encountered afterwards just don't mean as much to me as the things that I actually had to work for.
Yeah, so I don't play music from CDs anymore, but I still have very much a CD purchaser's mindset. So I still buy from used CD stores and rip it onto my computer and play it through my computer speakers.
Yeah.
I still buy CD. I make a point of buying music even just as a point of economic justice, because the people knew how little, how unsustainable the Spotify model is for music to continue existing at any kind of quality level. These choices have consequences, and so I still buy albums digitally in like a high quality format, because the Spotify format, unless you do some kind of special subscription, it's not high quality. It's compressed, so you're not even hearing all the details that you would hear on CD quality. That's one of the amazing things, is like people have worse speakers than they did in the 70s. They have these little Bluetooth things, and but yeah, I mean, one of the things is this dominance of the playlist now, where people don't even know what artists they're listening to. It's just a generic mood, and it's whatever will fit that mood, and that actually allows Spotify to create, and no doubt AI will play a big role in this if it doesn't already, to make on the cheap, to make tracks that fit a certain vibe and fit a certain mood. Like the top listened tracks in a certain category of jazz on Spotify are not classic Blue Note albums from the 50s and 60s, they're actually some anonymous trio or quartet from Stockholm, where Spotify I think is, and they just hired these guys, and it's, you know, the name of the album is like, you know, atmospheric jazz or something like that,
Right.
and that's what they put on their own playlists, and it's easier for them to do that. So the idea, the actual personal quality behind any of this stuff is getting lost. Not to mention the problem of the attention span, because the album is a reasonable, it kind of fits the length of a live set, the reasonable amount that you can expect of time that you can expect someone in one sitting to seriously focus on music.
Sure. Yeah,
you know, whereas just, you know, skipping around all the time, different artists, it doesn't really give you any kind of unified experience. So there's part of the reasons that I brought that topic up, because I think that streaming has been really, really bad for music, definitely more than for films, I think, in terms of just the quality of what's made.
Yeah, totally. And that, I think,
and the economy of it.
Right. I'm for a couple months now. It's proven quite difficult to finish, but I've been working on an article for Circe, which is on the best pop song of the last 25 years. and it was about 25 years ago that Napster first came out. I think 98 was the last year that pretty much nobody got their music online, and then August of 1999, file sharing became a common thing, which made the single the preeminent art form in terms of music. And that's, you're absolutely right. Like, the creation of the playlist is just all the things I like the most squashed together, as opposed to the difficulty of learning to like something that you had physically committed to by buying a CD, right? Like back in 1997, a friend loaned me Radiohead's OK Computer. I liked one song on it. It probably took me 15 years to get to the point where I liked every song on that album. But I did. Never would have happened with Spotify, right? With Spotify, it just makes it too easy to pluck out your 2 or 3 favorite songs and mix them with two or three of your favorite songs from a different record. And there's no sort of, you know, patient approach to learning to like something. It's all instant gratification.